In this video, we'll discuss how you can configure a control bar to display simple types of messages. So for example, we have here a control bar with 3 different buttons, and when we press this first button here, we get a basic message, so you can control the message title, the message body, and then this button over here, and then when you click the OK button you can execute some action. So that's a basic message. Here's a confirmation message, so this is a 2-button dialog that has a cancel and an OK button, but of course you can label these 2 buttons anything that you want. And then finally we have a wait dialog which puts up a spinner, and then the dialog is closed programmatically, typically by some JavaScript that you would execute when the item that you're waiting on completes. So for example, if you were doing an AJAX callback, then when the AJAX callback sends a response, the response would include the code to close this dialog, which would simply be the hide disclosure method of the control bar. So these 3 different types of messages can all be done automatically with built-in functions in the control bar, and we're going to show how the control bar can be configured to display these types of messages. So let's go and take a look now at how the control bar was configured to display these messages. So we'll open up the control bar properties, and the first thing that you'll need to do is go to the Home tab and click on this Import Messaging Functions hyperlink over here. So when you click that, it basically describes what it's going to do, and you can see here that the different types of messages that the control bar will display are shown over here. And when we click this OK button, we'll basically add all of the necessary definitions that will be the items, actions, layouts, etc. to the control bar. Then you can see that once we've done this, then the JavaScript to actually show the messages is shown over here. But you don't have to worry about this because there are genies that help you write the code. So we'll just simply go ahead here and click the OK button, and that means now that these definitions have been imported. So if we go now and look, for example, at items, we can see that there are a whole bunch of items that have been imported. You can see that there's a whole bunch of actions that have been imported. There's a whole bunch of CSS that has been imported, and of course you're free to change this. And then in JavaScript, under the this object, there are a whole bunch of methods that have been imported. So these are the methods that show the basic message, the confirmation message, and the progress message. Then once we've imported those functions, we can create items to actually show the message. So you can see here we've got an item called basic, which is going to show the basic message. And if we go look at our control bar layout over here, we've got 3 buttons on this control bar, one called basic, one called confirmation, and one called wait. So here are those 3 buttons: basic, confirmation, and wait. And the basic button executes an action called basic message. So if we go over to actions here, we see that there's basic message, and here is the JavaScript to display this basic message. So this is the syntax to display a basic message, but we didn't have to remember how to write this code. We just go here to the code genie, select display message, bring up this little genie over here, choose the type of message that we want, basic, wait, or confirmation. So we want a basic message. Go ahead and define the title and the body, and then we can define the JavaScript to execute when the OK button is pressed. And then when we click the OK button, the code is generated for us, and we can just paste this into the action. So you can see the syntax here is a method call with an argument that defines the title, the body, the OK button label, and then the function, the JavaScript to execute when the OK button is pressed. So all of the code is written for us automatically by the genie. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing now discussing how messaging functions can be added to a control bar. So now we'll just copy this code to the clipboard, and then we can see we can just simply paste it into the basic message action over here. Then the other actions for the confirmation dialog were also generated using the display message genie. So the confirmation message uses the the confirmation message here, it uses the show confirm method, and the arguments are the message title, the message body, the OK button, the cancel button, and then the corresponding JavaScript functions to call when those buttons are pressed. And you can see that the functions that get called when the buttons are pressed get past a variable called cbar, which is just simply a pointer to the control bar. So for example, if you wanted to do anything on the control bar, like for example set values of a data item, or maybe hide a disclosure, or whatever you wanted to do on the control bar, you could do, because you now have this pointer here to the control bar. So inside this function over here, cbar is equivalent to this outside of the argument. So this is how you display a confirmation message, and then finally a wait message is displayed again over here using this very similar syntax. Again, we go here to display a message, we choose the wait message, and then you can see here we have an option to automatically close the wait message after a certain interval. And the reason that you might want to do that is if the wait message is waiting for an AJAX callback to complete, and the callback is supposed to send the JavaScript to close the wait message. If for some reason the callback fails, the wait message will be left spinning. So you'll want to basically close it automatically so that the user is not locked out of the application. So the way in which a wait message is closed, you can see if we go click the OK button here, we can see that the wait message is closed by simply calling the hide disclosure method of the control bar. So you can see here that after we display the wait message, we do a set timeout that waits for 5 seconds and then calls this disclosure hide. So that's the way in which we'll go ahead and hide the disclosure. So having basically done that, let's go now and take a look at how this all performs again in practice. So we'll go now back to the control bar and we'll run it again now, and here we go. So there's our basic message, our confirmation message, and then finally our wait message. So let's now go and take a look at some other ways in which messaging in control bars can be used, and specifically we'll take a look at how you can display control bar messages from external JavaScript, and we'll show how Action JavaScript can be used to display control bar messages. Actually, before we move on, I just want to point out that I failed to mention that inside the wait message genie, if you want to automatically close the message after a certain period of time, you can't refer to this inside a set timeout because it's meaningless. You have to basically use a closure to capture the value of this in another variable. Would use that variable here, and inside the set timeout we basically use the that object. So now if we go over to working preview now and display the wait message, you'll see now that this wait message is automatically going to close after 5 seconds, as you see it did over there. So we'll pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing now with our video showing how to use messaging functions in a control bar, and we've shown how you can add buttons to the control bar to show the basic message types. But now we're going to go and show how you can use just regular Action JavaScript and invoke the messages from code that is not inside the control bar. So let's go now to our UX component, and let's go here and add 3 buttons. One to display a basic message, I'll call this one say basic, one to display a confirmation message, and one to display a wait message. Oops. And go here and display a wait message. So we'll go now to the basic message and open up Action JavaScript, and we'll search for control bar actions. So we'll go there, and then in the control bar action builder we'll choose the action to be display a message. We'll specify which control bar contains the messaging functions that we want to invoke, and then we'll go here and choose a basic message. So we'll go click OK, and now the code got generated for us. You can see there's the code that got generated, and so now we can go ahead now and save this, run this, and now when we click the basic button over here, we'll see that the message appears. So being able to call messages that are defined in a control bar from JavaScript that is running outside of the control bar is very powerful. So let's go now and define the action for the confirmation button over here, and again we'll basically bring up control bar actions, choose messaging, choose the ID of the control bar, and we'll choose this time we'll choose confirmation, and then we'll basically just accept all the defaults over there, and then finally we'll go to the wait dialog over there, and again use action JavaScript. We'll go here, type in control bar actions, again we'll choose display a message, select the control bar ID, and then choose the message type, which will be a wait message, and we'll say we'd like to close it automatically, and we'll just wait for 2 seconds. So we'll click that OK now. You can see now that when we do that, we'll see the code that got generated for us automatically. Click the OK button, save this, go now to working preview, and so there's our confirmation message that's been called from within the toolbar. And then here's the confirmation message that is being invoked from a button outside of the control bar. And then here's our wait dialog, which will stay open for 2 seconds and then close automatically. So what we've shown over here is how it's very easy to create simple messaging dialogues in a control bar, and how these messaging dialogues can be called from JavaScript that runs within the control bar inside actions defined in the control bar, or from JavaScript that is run from outside of the control bar when you just simply need to get a pointer to the control bar and then invoke the same methods that display display all the messages, and the JavaScript that is necessary to display these messages can be generated automatically using action JavaScript. Thanks very much for watching.